A telephone transmitter that led Edison to his most startling invention. He suspected that a vibrating needle point would leave indentations on a piece of paper, indentations that could then be played back.
They tried it, and it worked enough immediately, that is, they got a buzzing noise out of the paper when they pulled it back underneath, that they realized that this was a possibility. Then they sat down, and in thinking about it and its possibilities, realized they had just recorded sound.
Edison switched from paper to tinfoil and actually recorded the human voice.
So by turning the tinfoil flywheel and getting a constant speed, you can shout into this machine. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece as white as snow.
The device is a marvel of simplicity. The human voice vibrates a diaphragm, moving a stylus, which leaves grooves on the tinfoil. When the machine is returned to the starting point, the grooves cause the diaphragm to vibrate again, reproducing the original sound. In the late 19th century, no one even considered that sound could be reproduced by a machine.
All of a sudden, here was something brand new. You could record an event and then listen to it again. The phonograph made him the Wizard of Menlo Park. It made him world famous, instantly. In the end of 1877, the beginning of 1878, when people realized he wasn't lying, that he could really do this.
Francis Yale worked with Edison as a lab assistant. 50 years after that, he recalled the reaction to Edison's amazing phonograph.
People flocked here in multitudes to hear a machine talk. A simple machine. They could not believe it. I well remember the day when the phonograph was presented before the French Academy of Science, and two of its most illustrious members got up and said, "It is impossible. The man that's turning the crank is a ventriloquist. It's an American hawk."
Well, what do you think?
It's amazing. But who cares?
Who cares?
I mean, what is it for?
Well, you just heard it plays music.
Well, we've got a piano.
Yeah, but you can put your own voice on there.
What for?
So that you can hear your own voice talking back to you.
I am quite capable of hearing my own voice, Mr. Godfrey. I can hear quite clearly right now as it tells me, no, we don't want to buy your machine.
Is that your final word?
Well, it's my wife's, so that makes it the final word. I'm sorry.
Oh, me too. I busted my wagon. I'm having it fixed on the livery. I was hoping to sell this to pay for that. I could make an awful good deal. Ow.
Looks to me like you busted more than your wagon.
Oh, that's just my knee, but it's getting better. You know, I bet that you could get a pure joy out of hearing your wife's voice on this here machine.
What?
Nils?
The only joy I'd derive from that, Mr. Godfrey, would be in turning it off. Good day.
Good day.
Spoke in the original phonograph. A little piece of practical poetry. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go.
Hello, hello, hello. Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Ha, ha, Ha!
Here's a history changer. You may think the first sound recording was made by Thomas Edison, right? Well, Tech Now's Gene Ellie says maybe not.
Thomas Edison's 1877 recording of Mary Had a Little Lamb was considered the oldest recorded voice. But researcher David Giovannoni believed there was music much deeper in the past. It just needed technology to find its voice.
We found a sound recording made on April 9th, 1860 in Paris by a French typesetter and sometimes inventor by the name of Leon Scott.
Back in 1860, Leon Scott made crude recordings in France with his invention, the phonograph.
He made this recording on a smoked piece of paper and his stylus kind of pushed away the smoke to make a white tracing on the paper.
Scott figured out how to make the recordings. He just didn't know how to play them. But 147 years later, Giovannoni and his team did something Scott never dreamed of.
And from those scans, we were able then to work with our colleagues at Lawrence Berkeley Labs, who turned those tracings on the paper into sound waves that we could hear. Like this young woman's voice kind of is pushing through a century and a half ago, singing to us.
That 10-second clip of Eau Claire de la Lune is now believed to be the world's oldest recording, predating the previous first known recording by 17 years.
I just found myself thinking, my God, I'm the first person to listen to an intelligible vocal musical performance from before the American Civil War.
This morning, Giovannoni premiered the 10-second recording before the Association for Recorded Sound Collections at Stanford. As the ghostly crackling from a century and a half ago filled the room, Giovannoni heard another sound he liked.
Thank you, Gene. The group says it will continue to tweak and improve Leon Scott's recording.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her in your heart. ぐらいかな。
Where Paul McCartney's here.
ポール・マッカートニーみたい。
ちょっとだから冷や汗が出てきましたけど。で今巻き戻してこれからあまり大きな音出ないですけどね。
So he rewinded it and he's going to play it now.
さあ出るかな。あ、外れたね。まあそんなとこですね。Very good.
The story of the gramophone starts with Thomas Edison, wizard of inventors, and his famous workshop. In 1877, Edison completed an invention which spoke for itself. And that's how the noise racket began. must have had some time on his hands when he made this sort of thing possible.
Now repeat what Mr. Edison first said into the phonograph. Hello, 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 Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere where Mary went, that lamb was sure to go. Ha, 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 ha.
Some of the early machines were very crude. This is a Berliner horn type that first saw the light of day in 1870. These are the earpieces. That bomb-shaped thing in the middle is the distribution center, and this the intricate machinery for sharpening the needles. An Edison machine, hand-worked and fitted with governors. Another old vintage horn and cylinder model driven by clockwork. Pathé came along with a machine that employed a sapphire needle. A weight propelled yet another type of early sound reproducing machine, and with this one small wax cylinder records were used. The original sound box, paper and pin. These diagrams will show how the sound is picked up and distributed. The old Hill and Dale groove, which is now being revived. The present-day system, with a lateral or sideways movement. A typical sound box and record of today. The movement of the needle on the record causes sound waves, which are amplified in the tone arm. After going round and around, they come out here. Today, as a result, gramophone music encompasses the world, and even the South Sea Islanders aren't immune. You see how it gets them. In the harem, the waves have a soothing influence on the wives, which perhaps is just as well, and they even penetrate the Arctic. And the only needle that matters to a pretty sunbather is a gramophone needle. Yes, like airplanes, gramophones have made great strides, and some cynics say that all they both need now is a good silencer.
So this is a one-of-a-kind piece. There's no other one like this particular one in the world. And you can see the tracks go this way. And it's really cool because it records much more accurately than... Oh, shit. Oh, my God.
Well, that does happen every once in a while. That can't be good. Now, are you done with that, then?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
All right. Apparently, we're really done with that one.